This video is brought to you by Storyblocks Video. Woo! Yeah. I don't understand why they give you such a small box. Anyways, let's talk about this little boy right here. The Red Digital Cinema Camera, which I purchased about 6 months ago. And am I happy with this camera? Was it worth 40 grand, or do I regret throwing that amount of money on the table? Well, short answer, it's complicated. Yeah, that's my relationship status with this camera. Anyways, I want to talk about things like workflow, what I've learned from working with a cinema camera. It's not a review because I still see myself as a complete rookie when it comes down to these cameras, but what I've learned in the past months with this camera is extraordinary, and that is something that I want to share. But first, let me thank our sponsor Storyblocks Video, which is an online library packed with hundreds of thousands of video assets. There are After Effects templates, backgrounds, light leaks, and other video effects like transitions, slideshows, high-quality 4K stock clips, and that list just continues. With an active subscription, you're licensed to use any of the video assets in commercial work. The great thing is that there's only a single price per year, which allows you to download unlimited video assets without additional fees. For more information, make sure to click the first link in the description below. Now let's rewind to September when I ordered this rat right here. They told me that I had to wait around 4 to 6 weeks. Eventually, I got the camera in December, which was about 10 weeks later. But okay, not a huge problem. I mean, I was super happy that I finally got my red camera. Except for the Nikon lens mount that I also ordered. That one wasn't delivered yet, so I wasn't able to use it. Now, luckily, I was able to borrow a PL mount from the store that I ordered it from, but I didn't have any PL lenses. Again, luckily, I have a friend who had a PL lens that I could borrow as well, so I had a fully functional red camera. Immediately, me and Janik both shot a music video with it, but then the footage looked terrible. That's right, we shot with a $40,000 camera and the footage looked terrible. So, the next day, I dug a little deeper into the world of REDs. I knew that a cinema camera needed a little more attention than a normal DSLR when you get started with it, but I didn't realize there would be so many things to pay attention to. I basically thought we're shooting RAW, so what could possibly go wrong? And there I was wrong. The first mistake that I did was the calibration. The sensor of the RED camera needs to be calibrated. Now, unfortunately, it's not just one button that you press somewhere and it's calibrated for the next of your career. No, you need to do this with every time that you change the shutter speed of this camera. So that means if you're changing the shutter speed because you're filming in slow motion, well, guess what? You need to recalibrate your camera. Or if you go outside and the temperature has changed about 15 degrees or 16 Fahrenheit or something, 60, well, guess what? You can start calibrating again. Now, luckily, you can batch calibrate up front and save them so that you don't constantly need to do this in between, but RED does advise to recalibrate everything once a month or something. So basically, this calibration is gonna fix dead pixels, create a natural noise pattern, etc. Unfortunately, it didn't really help with my camera. I actually had a bunch of issues with the noise and I had these flashing pixels and so on. So I contacted RED the day after I got this camera. And well, super long story short, by the end of January, I was finally able to send my camera back in for repair. A couple of weeks later, I got it back and the issue did improve a little bit. You know, sometimes I still see these flashing pixels or dead pixels. I actually got around 50 dead pixels on a brand new camera, but RED apparently doesn't see that as an issue. Anyways, whenever I would reboot the camera or recalibrate, those issues are gone for a little while. So I still have issues with the camera, but at least I can kind of fix it now. Now, after all the struggle that I've gone through with the RED support, I'm kind of tired of it, so I'm not sure if I will pursue my issues any further. Anyways, by the end of February, I also received my Nikon mount, this little thing right here. So I was finally able to use my own lenses. Unfortunately, this Nikon lens lost connection with my lenses and half of the time it wasn't working, so time to contact RED again. And since a month back, somewhere half of March, I finally got ourselves a fully functional red camera. This time they did reply it very quick and they just sent a brand new Nikon mount. Thank you, Reds, for that, I guess. Exposure was the next tricky thing with the Reds. Now, I'm very used to my Panasonic GH5 and I know that camera inside out. What I usually do is underexpose a little bit and then bring it up in post, and that gives me the best results on the GH5. With the Reds, it works different, and it's not a little bit different. Now, if you underexpose on the Reds, you're guaranteed to have a lot of noise. So, what I did was overexposing a little. Well, that also didn't turn out so great. On the Red, you want to nail your exposure. And there's this very nice tool on the monitor called the gyroscope, and it shows you all of the stops of the dynamic range, and you can select one to highlight in that area. The skin tone should be at around 11 from what I've learned, so every time we would shoot something now, we would make sure that the skin tones lay at around that value unless there's an artistic choice. If something else in your shot is too dark, we add light to the scene, and although that you do have much more room to play with colors and exposure under Red, it kinda does feel like you don't. But that's exactly what the camera is intended for. You know, it's a cinema camera. It feels like you're forced to put more effort into lighting your scene. We were taking out this little device right here the other day. It's called a light meter, and you know, I've never really used this with my GH5, but now on the Red, I caught myself using this thing, measuring lights. Wow. And that's really strange. It feels like the camera is kind of forcing you to pay more attention to cinematography. And when you get that right, the Red shines. You know, it's unexplainable, I guess. Well, I'm still learning and kind of figuring out this camera. I'm definitely not a professional Red user. I'm still a rookie. Oh, by the way, ISO on the Red camera doesn't exist. It's metadata. So I always leave my ISO at 800 and I make sure to light a scene according to that 800 ISO. With my DSLR, I would change the camera according to the scene, and now I'm changing my scene according to the camera. The last thing that I wish to talk about is color grading. Over the past months, you've probably seen a ton of different looks on the channel. Some were very bad and I think only a few were actually good. Color grading on the Red footage is not much different than log footage from a DSLR. I thought it was, and I was making it myself just a lot more complex than I should. Because since you're shooting RAW, you can choose your gamma curve and color space afterwards. And with all of these options, I didn't really know what to pick. Also, you have a dedicated program called Red CineX, which kind of looks like Lightroom, but then for Red footage. And I thought that we had to use it, but apparently it's completely incompatible with Premiere Pro, so I kept struggling with the workflow. And since I was constantly changing my mind, Lorenzo and Janik did not really know how to follow, which was kind of funny. Because you know, if you're working with 3 people on the same project and I'm constantly changing my mind, things can go wrong easily when you still haven't figured out the color grading workflow. So I got in touch with other Reds users. I met some great people online, and the Reds community is really amazing. And one of those guys is Scott Balkum. I'm gonna leave his YouTube channel in the description below. He makes some great tutorials as well. And what I've learned from him is if you edit in Premiere, then I should do everything in there. You know, just set your footage to lock and work with a Rec 709 LUT in Premiere. Problem solved. It's the exact same workflow as I was doing with the GH5. Just that you have a few raw settings in Premiere as well, like ISO and white balance and such. But for the rest, it works the same. My entry into the world of Red has been a very bumpy ride. I came to a point evenly where I really regret buying one, and I wanted to make a video about that. Luckily, I didn't do that. I'm very happy because of that. The reason why I bought a Red was not to suddenly get superior image quality, which is also not the case. We've all seen those DSLR versus Red comparison videos before, and you can barely tell the difference. But the reason that I bought a Red was to learn new things. I wanted to learn more about cinematography. And for the past months, I've been learning so much, so I do not regret buying a Red at all. It's amazing. Although sometimes I feel like I kind of bought this baby too early. You know, you don't buy a Red whenever you got money for it. No, you buy a Red when you're ready for it as a filmmaker. There's a certain knowledge about cinematography that you have to master first. And if you like to spend cash on gear, then you should do that first on lighting, on sliders, tripods, maybe a studio. And the last step in line is a cinema camera like the Reds. So to answer that question I've been getting so much lately, how superior is the Reds camera? Well, it's not sticking out so far, actually. Technology has really come so far that the gap between picture quality is getting closer and closer. I mean, just take a look at the picture that comes out of your phone. If you had a flagship smartphone from 2019, 10 years ago, you would have the best camera in the world. Stand still with that idea. So you probably don't need that new camera, unless you're still shooting on a potato. Other than that, the camera that you have right now can take you on a very long journey. And that is the moral of the story. Said someone who just bought a Red. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Storyblocks video, for the support. And as always, stay creative. Red, I know that we have a complicated relationship, but my friends are making fun of me on Facebook, so I was kind of wondering, can we change our relationship status to, at least friends, maybe? You know? Would be nice, I think. She's a girl, by the way. A girl camera.